They're concerned about all of these things that will allow them to build their business in a in a in a in a planned way. So okay, so let's continue. Yeah.
So just one question, you explained the disruption, progression very well in terms of in the early adapted cities and stuff like that. I just wanted to kind of get your sense on Israel in terms of the technology innovation, because I get the value perspective in terms of having the early adopters and picking up science there. Any view on how Israel fits into this cycle that you spoke about?
Can you explain a little bit more? I didn't understand.
No, this was with reference to the disruption.
Right.
And you explained that, for example, the way to cite it is, look at the earlier adaptive cities like maybe San Francisco and
yes,
and then that travels across, in a sequence. In that context, Israel is also, a very high-tech innovation hub. So where does that fit in this global cycle is what I wanted to know.
Yeah, so the innovation hub is it's an interesting concept to think about, which is, when something breakthrough happens, actually there's a flood, there's a whole number of businesses that opportunities come along at the same time. So so when something like internet happened, I talked about the fact that there were like dozens and dozens of industries that were all disrupted at the same time because of the internet. When smartphones entered India, so many businesses have got disrupted. I think the food businesses got disrupted. The online ordering of food, movie tickets got disrupted. Airline tickets got disrupted. Vacation planning got disrupted. So many things got disrupted. So what ends up so what has happened is that a lot of people that want to foster entrepreneurship and innovation essentially create these innovation hubs where, they will have 5, 10, 15 companies in all adjacent spaces, which will basically leverage the same disruption and try to develop, solutions for all these, for whatever disruption that happened, right? For multiple industries. So basically, they're just trying to leverage the fact that, there's an opportunity to have a whole bunch of companies start up that can leverage from some breakthrough or the other. And these innovation hubs, as a result, can harvest across all these different industry opportunities. That is just, that can happen in inside one organization, can happen in a city, can happen in Silicon Valley. It can, but that's basically what I've seen. Okay, let's continue on with the customer development that startups have to do. So I want to kind of bring it back to the fact that as an entrepreneur, you're facing different challenges, and we have to get this customer discovery and validation done. So as an entrepreneur, during the customer validation phase, you are actually going ahead and finding those customers, building the trust with them, understanding their needs, and then proposing solutions. So you're doing this customer validation process along with your identifying the different customers that you have. So I want these 14 rules that Steve Blank has documented very well understood, because so the first one is that there are no facts inside your building, so you have to get outside. I think that should be obvious by now. Number two is pair customer development with agile development, which means that as the customer needs, etc., start getting understood, you should have an engineering team that can rapidly prototype and show, hey, is this what you need? Is this what you need? Is this what you need? Failure is an integral part of search. So you come up with an idea, you come up with a hypothesis. If it doesn't work, no problem, because every time somebody says no, it actually means you learned something. You learned that this is not going to work, so something else is going to work. So failure is an integral part of search. So you succeed by making continuous iterations and pivots. So the whole idea is to continuously keep changing your product and direction. And I talked about that with the Siemens CIO, who said, hey, add model builder, add reporting system, add middleware, add, add easy to use interface. So continuous iteration and pivots. No business plan survives. So basically the vision that you have for your company is going to change, and the business model canvas is going to keep evolving till you have something that you know is sustainable. You have to design experiments to test and validate your hypothesis, and then you have to agree on market type, which changes everything. So if you have to agree whether you're going to be in the B2B business or B2C business, or it's going to be viral marketing, or whether it's going to be an app on the app store, is it going to be partnership with bundled in with other apps, is it going to be reference sold by partners, by websites, etc. So depending on the market type, you can have the same product, but you change your market positioning and the market approach, and everything will change. Your sales approach will change, your packaging will change, your so when Chicky Chunk changed from retail to e-commerce, everything changed for him, right? His distribution strategy changed, his commission strategy changed, his promotions changed. Whether he marketed it on social media or whether he marketed with advertising, everything changed, right? So market type changes everything. Startup metrics differ from those to existing companies. So, for existing companies, they already, their metrics are, hey, we want to grow by 10%, 12% on revenue, on profitability, on industry, on product turnover, on market share. So existing companies, those are the metrics that matter. While for startup, the metrics that matter are, is the customer still using my product? How much are we getting feedback from the customer? Is he promoting my product through social media? So those are the metrics that that are important for a startup, because for a startup, it's all about the viability of the product. So for a startup, it's all about fast decision making, cycle time, speed, and tempo. So the speed at which you change and speed at which you keep making things happen. It's all about passion, because there'll be a lot of disappointment. And unless you have the passion to continue on, you're going to be out of your business. So again, horizontal management, we've already talked about that. So don't worry about, am I in product management? Am I in engineering? all of that is less important than. Are you having trouble hearing me, guys? Is there a sound problem? Mumbai, is there a sound problem?
No problem.
Okay. Okay. Communicate and share learning. I've already talked about the fact that an open organization is very important, and share learning because you need to train your people on the sales process, on the selling process. When you go and actually participate in a sales call with a salesman, and if you see that he is beginning to promote the product before establishing trust and summarizing the need from the customer, then you know that he's not doing the selling process correctly, and it just becomes a hit or a miss. Or if you find that the marketing person is not is jumping in to talk about the product without building up trust, automatically you know that the selling process is getting screwed up, and you will not have a long-term viable relationship with the customer. So you have to share this learning. So what you have learned in this course all needs to become something that you can share with your entire team all the time. So you are continuously growing everybody in all aspects of doing business for your company. And customer development success begins with buy-in, which means that your entire team needs to agree that this is what customers want and have agreed to. And once you have this buy-in, so the buy-in is within the company. So the buy-in, once that happens, now you're going to be on your way to success. So these 14 rules are a very nice summary. You should just copy it and stick it in your office somewhere. And remember, as situations come up, you can see whether these 14 rules are followed or not. Okay, so this customer development manifesto is priceless for you. And just like you need to take that sales diamond slide and you have to put it, blow it up and stick it in your office so that you're looking at it every time when you're going to go and visit a customer. You basically bring your salesman, your marketing guy, your VP of engineering, whoever is going to join you on the trip, and say, okay, guys, we are going to participate in this 5-step process. Okay, trust. Okay, how are we going to establish trust? Once we do this, what kind of questions are we going to ask the customer? Then who's going to summarize what the customer needs are? Then who's going to propose the value proposition of our product? Then who's going to negotiate the deal? And then who's going to write down why the customer should be buying a product at this particular price, and communicate the economic logic of that whole transaction. So you have to stick that sales diamond in your office. You got to stick these 14 rules in your office, because these are the things that are important for your success. So once we have done all of that, these are the 12 slides you're going to need for your business plan. So by now, with the BMC, the problem, market, technology solution, customers and revenue model, go-to-market, competition, all of this should start becoming well understood by you for your projects. and we're going to do financials and negotiations and customer care over the next 2-3 meetings. So the business plan is something that you should basically be able to put together once you've got your BMC well figured out, right? So most of you probably need to should have talked to 10 customers, right? That was the assignment that all of you had from the last class. So now it's time to redo the business model canvas based on insights that you've got from actually meeting and transacting with the customers. So when you meet the customers, you take a hypothesis, you come up with an experiment, you test it, insight. So you go round and round and nail down everything. What features, what functionality, what user interface, what price, all of these hypotheses that you have are all nailed down so that your BMC can be justified. The customer segment you're targeting, the channel, how you're going to relate to them, what you're going to do, what partners are going to do, what key resources, this entire business model canvas and every element and aspect of it needs to be nailed down in the real world. So once you've nailed it down, you still have to validate it. So you do phase 1, which is get ready to sell. Then you go out of the building, then you develop your positioning, and then you verify it. So let's see what the 4 phases are. So in phase 1, you have to prepare the get ready to sell activities. So you got to get your product positioning done. Then you got to get your sales and marketing materials for test selling. You can't just walk into a prospective customer and say, hey, what do you think of this product? You got to prepare marketing collateral for it, right? You got to prepare a presentation package. You got to prepare a 2-page executive summary. You got to prepare some diagrams. You got to prepare some graphs. So that's your sales and marketing material. Then you got to hire, obviously I've taught you guys, the sales closer or the sales process, but, it's not that easy. I've been selling for about 25 years, and that's why, whenever I get an objection on any part of the sales process, it's an automatic response from me as to, okay, how to readjust what is going on in that interaction, right? So my responses are automatic, in the transaction. And so you need to hire, or on a consulting basis or whatever, a sales closer. And then you got to have a distribution channel plan, a roadmap, and then an advisory board. So you prepare all of these things, and now you're ready to validate with the customer. Now you go out of the building, you find potential customers, you review your sales and marketing material with them. You have dozens and dozens of meetings, and you validate every element of the business model so that it's repeatable, scalable, and profitable in a real-world test. And then phase 3 happens when you get a few orders and you understand, okay, these telecom customers are good customers, prospects for us configuration, for my configuration product. And if I position it this way, there's a good chance of it being ordered and so on. So you test it with industry analysts, industry pundits, in order to kind of validate the whole market. And phase 4, you stop everything and then you go ahead and figure out whether you need to pivot or proceed. So there are 4 processes in the validation process. The phase 1, get ready to sell, get out of the building, develop that positioning, and verifying it, right? So you do this cycle round and round till it becomes really nice and polished, and you feel very comfortable that you know everything. So from your business model canvas, you've developed a sales presentation, which is your sales roadmap. And then from your sales roadmap, you build the sales roadmap, then you become the leader of the team that does the customer validation, and then you sell to those early evangelists. So I talked about the need to find those early adopters in the Jeffrey Moore model, and then you obviously don't spend too much money, and then you just go ahead and validate that everything works. So how many of you understand the Jeffrey Moore market model? Okay, so I think only Rishi, you attended the Startup to IPO course. So let me bring up that Jeffrey Moore slide and we'll cover that. What is it?
Sir, we have already gone through this. All the hands, please. All the hands. All the hands. Sir, hand.
No, I think Mumbai guys have not, because I think you Nagpur guys are attending both classes.
Bombay also hands are up. Now Bombay hands are going up.
No, because this was also discussed last class.
2-3 times.
Yeah, using the
so we have done it
class
across both the classes. We have already covered.
Okay.
Thai Bombay, please raise your hands. Thai Bombay.
It is that thing.
Yeah.
Chasm. We have already done Jeffrey Moore chasm.
Okay. So you guys are not going to fall in the chasm. That's good. Okay. So basically, like, don't try to sell to the early majority or the late majority or the conservative. And that's the main message here. And basically, like, so when you go from your BMC to sales roadmap, this is what you're doing. So what you're doing is you're trying to create something called the sales funnel. So the sales funnel is the 6 or 7 step process by which prospects are discovered and you go all the way to a signed contract. So there's a 6 or 7 step process in the sales funnel, and I'll give me a minute, and I'll get that funnel up in a minute. And so you got to figure out who influences the sale, who recommends the sale, who's the decision maker, economic buyer, what's the budget, how many sales calls are needed. So the whole sales funnel process is different for different products and companies. In some cases, from prospect to contract might be 2 weeks. In some cases, it might be 2 years. So it all depends. And you just need to know what is the funnel for your business. And you have to then go ahead and understand what it's going to take, because that is going to determine your cost of sales. If you have a 2-year sales funnel, it means your cost of getting an order is probably in the range of a few $100,000. So if you sell the product for less than that, obviously you're going to lose money. You're going to have to sell it for at least 4 times your cost of getting sales to be a profitable company. So it needs to be a multi-million-dollar product transaction if your sales process is going to be 2 years. For Chicky Chunk, the sales funnel from since it's a pull mode is virtually nothing. They make up their mind, boom, the order comes in. So for viral marketing and those kinds of products, there's no funnel, so to speak. And then for customer validation, we have to basically take all parts of the business model, the value proposition, customer segments, channels, customer relationships, all the 9 boxes, and you got to have questions in for each thing that you want to be sure. Are the customers passionate about your product vision? Can be translated into quantified revenue? Are the features, benefits, do they still make sense? So you have to ask all these questions, and these are the same questions that investors are going to ask you. So these are the same things that you're going to have to ask that you have to ask, and it's better to ask right now than you've hired 10 people, you're paying their salaries, and you don't know if customers are passionate about the vision that you got for your product. So the thing is that better to ask right now than to ask any of these questions after you've started spending money by scaling up your company, right? So the prices that you'll charge, the way you'll get your cash flow going, which are the channels you're going to use, all of these things need to be figured out by answering these kinds of questions prior to the meeting, right? Prior to you writing your business plan. And then you have to decide on customer validation. You have to decide on whether to pivot or to proceed, which means you have to decide, are you going to go ahead with the product as you had visualized it, or you're going to make some changes to it, right? So you put all your things together, you put yellow sticky notes everywhere, as you saw in those videos, and then you create a war room, and then you go ahead and review all this data, brainstorm with each other, discuss with each other, and figure out the financial model, validate everything, the metrics, and then you are ready to decide whether to pivot or to go ahead and get into fundraising mode with the business plan. And the metrics that you do are the metrics that matter. Metrics might be like, hey, if, how, what is going to be the repeat business for my product? What is the average selling price? How fast can I scale up? All of that stuff that we saw Chicky Chunk do, and what every company is going to have to do similar things in their business in order to get viable. So once it's all done, now, and you make sure that the value proposition, product delivery, revenue, business model, everything is right, now you're ready to go ahead and start your company. So this is kind of the 2 things that you do between customer discovery and customer validation before you go ahead and kick off, write this business plan, and this is where you write your business plan after the customer validation is done, and now you're ready to, build up your customer base in a planned fashion by hiring marketing people, by hiring salespeople, and then you do your company building. So basically search and then execution. And in the middle is your business plan. So you write your business plan right here. Okay, so it's 10:30. And so thank you very much. But I think the key thing is I want you guys to take your inputs from your 10 customers, at least 10 customers, if not more, and go ahead and update your BMC. And then we'll talk about drafting a business plan.
Raj, just a small question.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for you to open the deadline of last week's assignment, because there were some issues from my side?
Yeah. Got it. No, I'm going to kind of take all the schedules and I'm going to kind of make them till next Monday.
So for both courses?
Yeah, for both courses. Yeah, we'll extend everything because I know, like, these weeks just come by one. It's like you guys are on a heavy treadmill.
So which book can we start reading on sale? Out of all the 18 books that you suggested, any book on sale that we can start reading right now?
Well, with selling, basically, if you're doing that, if you're doing B2B selling, then I would say that, hope is not a strategy is probably the best and most sophisticated book on B2B selling.
B2C?
Well, for B2C, selling is more marketing rather than selling. And, take a look at those dozen or so different books on marketing and then figure out, what you need to focus on. Because everybody is going to have a different kind of marketing problem. Okay?
So the next course is tomorrow? The Friday's course is tomorrow? Thursday?
Yes. Wednesday class tomorrow. Yes. Wednesday for me and Thursday for you guys.
Same time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Sorry.